With the 17th pick of the 2023 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers selected the point guard out of Indiana, Jalen Hood-Schifino. Locked On's NBA draft coverage is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/locked on NBA, and they'll throw in a free custom Bird Dogs Yeti style tumbler with every order. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off, we promise you. Now let's bring in our host of Locked On Lakers, Brian Kamenetzky. Looking at the Lakers' surprising run this postseason and the likelihood that they'll at least try to bring back D'Angelo Russell, what were your thoughts on the team selecting a point guard at 17?
Yeah, it's really funny because we spent all week trying to figure out what they were going to do with this pick and, trading out, trading back maybe to try to pick up a rotation player, or Royce O'Neal or Dorian Finney-Smith from Brooklyn, somebody bigger like Buddy Hield, whatever it might be, trading the pick entirely, all of these scenarios. And what they ended up doing was just kind of a normal pick a guy that you like kind of play. And, there's some concern that D'Angelo Russell might not return. I think he will. There's some concern Dennis Schroeder might get too big an offer for the Lakers to be able to compete with. I think this is a little bit of a hedge against that. But overall, I think the Lakers made this pick with the understanding that Russell could be back, probably will be now that Chris Paul's in San Francisco, and that they still hope to bring Schroeder back, and they just like this 20-year-old point guard from Indiana.
Yeah, and the biggest plus for a player like that has to be getting on a team with a player coach type of LeBron James caliber, right? Even if they play a different position, like how exciting would that be, or should that be for Jalen Hood-Schifino, just to be able to get under the tutelage and also be on a team that's already a contender?
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice thing to be able to walk in, and he's got that kind of game, comes from a program like that at Indiana, and to be able to walk in and get instruction from LeBron James. And you saw that with Max Christie last year, the Lakers' second round pick. And you saw it with Austin Reeves, who has quickly developed both into a favorite of LeBron's, but also a guy who's going to get paid this offseason.
Oh, yeah.
And so like these guys understand the opportunity because, LeBron's not a point guard, but he kind of is. And until, last year, really, the Lakers have made a much bigger effort to try to get the ball out of his hands because it's just too much work. And, as you're pushing 40, but, you can learn a lot about how to play point guard by being around LeBron James. And so it makes everybody better. It is a great opportunity for him. And, he's a player who all the reports indicate excels in the pick and roll and all that. And so he's got a tailor-made pick and roll partner in Anthony Davis that can make just about any point guard look good.
Yeah, and I think when you have those kinds of pieces, all of those veteran players that you just mentioned, it really does give Darvin Ham an opportunity to be able to develop a player like Hood-Schifino. And just having watched Ham as he grew when he was here in Atlanta, of course, watching him up in up in Milwaukee as well. And now, of course, in LA, one of the things that he's known for is being able to develop talent. So I also think that's a good thing and a plus for Jalen, just to be able to get under the tutelage of someone like a Darvin Ham. And to your point, should the Lakers be able to retain D'Angelo Russell, not have to be asked to be ready to contribute immediately?
Yeah, I mean, I've responded to a few people, like on Twitter, for example, thinking that this indicates that Russell's gone, and that is, you don't draft a kid after his freshman year,
right,
to replace your starting point guard on a team that has designs to go deep in the playoffs again. Like, that's not something that you do now. Certainly not at 17, maybe 1, 2, 3, something like that. But you don't do it outside of the lottery. And so, I think he'll actually have a chance to play because, LeBron is not going to play every game. And, D'Angelo Russell has a bit of a checkered injury history, and they're going to be working to keep guys fresh. I think the Lakers are legitimately going to go 12 or 13 deep during the regular season, but he doesn't have to be good right away. And I think that is a nice luxury for a lot of young players would benefit for going to a good team with a good structure and not a lot of drama. And it sounds crazy to say that about the Lakers, but generally speaking, like this year was very drama free. Once they got themselves away from the Westbrook stuff, when they were winning the title, that was very drama free. They injected a little bit of that with Russ, but then they removed it. And I expect this year to be pretty much drama free. And so it'll be a great environment for him to learn in.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. And it's a team that is like many teams, especially those that are in the top tier on either side, whether it's the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference, who are really going to be hampered by the apron. And when you look at it from the perspective of the luxury tax and just how the collective bargaining agreement is kind of minimizing or limiting what some teams are able to do, if you're able to get a gym maybe somewhere in the middling space of that round one who you can develop and who, to your earlier point, could be like an Austin Reeves and could give you kind of like some breakout opportunities here and there when he does get the minutes, that could be nothing but a good thing for the Lakers.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, it was instructive to me that they moved up to go from 47 to 40. And I especially given the track record that they have in the second round, whether it's, Christie, who showed promise, or undrafted free agents like, Caruso and Austin Reeves, and, even a guy like Talen Horton-Tucker, who's not on the team anymore, has established himself as a solid NBA player. I mean, these are all players that they found either in the second round or outside the draft entirely. And, I bet they have some guys that they're very interested in. I thought maybe moving up from 47 to 40 was a way to try to add some sweetener to that 17 to try to make it more appealing if you needed to make a big trade. But the names that were out there for guys that could really improve your team, like a Miles Turner or something like that, that would fit right in with the Lakers. I'm not sure he was available. He signed to a very reasonable contract in Indiana. And I don't know if the Pacers wanted to, they want to do that. Like, is it Buddy Hield? It's just, so at some point you just say, like you said, here's a guy we think is a good player who, even if he doesn't contribute this year, in 2 or 3 years, could be a really important player for us. And with all these, issues with first apron, second apron, huge luxury tax bills that the Lakers always will have, that kind of cost control talent is really critical.
Indeed. So for more on the Lakers, make sure you subscribe to Locked On Lakers, the podcast, wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks so much, Brian.
Thank you.